From the Reporter, the paper of record for Delaware County's towns and villages, this is Off the Record, a quick look at the latest county news. I'm Andrew Kantor, and this week we've got food trucks, fluoride, electric vehicles, a dammed up river, and more. So let's get to it. We'll start with war in Delhi, maybe. And it's the best kind of war, a food truck war. Well, that's one of the plans being hatched by village trustees, and they want to come up with a bigger annual event to attract tourists. Unfortunately, it would not involve some kind of demolition derby or chucking sandwiches across the center of town. It would be a couple of dozen food trucks coming from all over the area for a day of, let's call it, culinary excess. They might require those owners to donate a percentage of the profits to Fair on the Square. Remember, villages like Delhi, they don't get to keep any sales tax from those vendors. Anyway, the trustees are looking at doing it on August 1st, which is the Friday right after the village's Fair on the Square. But first, a committee, because government's got a government. So, yeah, about that sales tax. Once again, Delaware County's mayors are pushing the county to do what just about every other county in the state does. Share sales tax revenue with the towns and villages, the place where those sales actually occur. Those towns and villages here, they're getting pretty desperate. Costs are rising, their staff is short, and they, can't really keep pushing tax hikes onto residents. And then you've got villages like Sidney that lost, 130 properties in the 2011 flood? It can't rebuild them, it can't sell them, and, it's not collecting property taxes on them. But then you've got Art Merrill, the town supervisor of Colchester, but he's also the county's budget director. He is totally against the county sharing any of its taxes, even if it would be good news for Colchester. We won't go into the shenanigans the county budget committee has pulled to avoid bringing the sales tax question to the county supervisors. Well, the mayors keep pushing, the county budget committee keeps pushing back or ignoring them. But now it's getting to the point where at least one mayor is raising the idea that some villages might end up being dissolved, taken over by the towns they're in. Once again, though, the budget committee refused to take any action, but it promised to keep reviewing those budgets. Mayor Jeff Gearhart of Delhi brought up the idea of taking the fluoride out of the village's water, saying that it costs the village about $10,000 a year, and maybe that money could be better spent on something other than residents' dental health. Gearhart also said he did his own research and thinks the water might be over-fluoridated, but he didn't say where he did this research. It probably wasn't any of the hundreds and hundreds of studies done since 1945 that found fluoridation is safe at the low levels Delhi uses. Maybe he saw something on Facebook or TikTok. That's almost as good, right? Oh, and that $10,000 the village would save? That's about $2 per resident per year. But here's a fun fact. The CDC figured out that for every dollar a village spends on fluoridating its water, the residents save $32 in dental care. Because let's face it, people don't always brush regularly. But Gearhart figures that he can save the village $10,000 and let the residents pay the $320,000 for dental care themselves. It might be a moot point anyway. The village would need permission from New York State to make the change, and before that it would need to have a public hearing, and that's going to be fun to watch. It's science versus Facebook. Sidney is embracing electric vehicles in a couple of big ways. First, the town is installing 4 electric vehicle charging stations in the town hall parking lot. That's at 44 Grand Street. And then another 4 at A.O. Fox Memorial Hospital on Pearl Street. Like gas stations, they won't be free to use, but unlike gas stations, they're going to be pretty cheap. The other electric news comes from the Sidney Central School District, and it's hoping to buy 2 electric school buses if the voters approve it. The buses won't cost much, thanks to a bunch of support from the state and federal governments. The final price tag? About $42,000 each, and that's a lot less than the cost of a new diesel bus. Even the charging stations are paid for by state funds. The plan is for the first 2 buses to be a trial, see how they run, see how they work in the cold weather, see how much they save the school district and what the drivers and the kids think. It'll be a slow process because the district has until 2035 to replace its fleet with electric vehicles, and they want to do it right. In Sidney, it's electricity making the news. In Colchester, it's water. Storm damage and red tape are, well, they're bad news for Colchester's summer season. After a storm dropped debris in the Delaware River near the Downsville Covered Bridge, it started building up a gravel dam, and the town hasn't been able to get a permit to clear it out. And so what happens? Canoes and kayaks and drift boats, they can't get through. The boat ramp at Papacticon Park, the launch at Al's Sports Store, they're both unusable. And of course, it's not good for local businesses and, well, anyone who hoped to fish or float this summer. Town officials, they want to fix it, but they're caught in a bind. This is weird. The state will let them remove a tree from the water, but they need permission to touch the stream bed. And that gravel dam that's built up, that's the stream bed. The permission hasn't come through yet. Colchester's other water issue? Water meters. The town just can't seem to get them installed. They hired a guy in 2022 to install the 125 new meters, but he quit less than a year later because it was too much trouble. Then in 2023, the water plant operator in Downsville offered to help, and that went nowhere. So there are still like 100 meters left to install, and no plan for when that's going to happen. Finally, a shout out to Ella, a 10-year-old therapy dog who just made her 500th visit to the Mountainside Residential Care Center in Margaretville. Good girl. Cookie for you. And that's it for this week's Off the Record. For the full stories and plenty more, grab this week's copy of The Reporter. In print or online, go to the-reporter.net. I'm Andrew Kantor. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next week.